All right, guys, welcome to CentsPro.com. Today we're going to be going over the personal account budget. This document is an automated document that I created specifically to streamline the budgeting process and make it easy for everyone. I still feel like managing a budget is very tough for people that don't understand math, business, economics, etc. And I believe that Sense can automate this chart down to as few clicks and swipes on your phone as possible. I believe that we can simply deposit a check into one account and then that check will disperse into all the other accounts appropriately automatically. That's the primary objective of the Sense app, so that we can then allocate the funds that come in into the places that they belong. I'm going to show you what this looks like. If anybody has any questions or concerns, this is very similar to Dave Ramsey's envelope system, except it's in a digital format in the form of a chart, and everything is automated to tell you exactly what goes into what area. You can still do this manually. Unfortunately, you still have to do this manually, but if you help support the Sense app and grow it and get it off the ground, we can automate this so that everyone can become a true asset to the economy and not a liability. People can start driving their business and managing their funds and their jobs and their careers in a stable way, so much so that we can feel comfortable investing into our country, investing into our future, and feeling safe knowing that our country is stable. And I believe it starts with the everyday person having a balanced, progressive budget. So the first things first, a lot of people are already in a living situation. So instead of us starting with plugging in income and budgeting around our income, I want to show you how most people tend to be out of budget. And this is how we can address this. So what I'll do here is I'll plug in some of my costs that I know off the bat, and we'll go from there, so that you guys can really get a sense of what costs typically are. Um, um, so this is all working beautifully. 80, 80, 80, 40, skip. And then we'll say for here 80. Okay. And then 88, 5, and probably 15 grand. Okay, so now what we have here is our costs of living and our debt listed at a tune of 108. Okay, you can see that we need to produce $907 a week in order for us to match this, including our cost of business here. You can see here this is 907.75. Okay, so first things first is we can come in and plug in our costs across the board, and then let's say that the average person makes $700 a week in the United States, and that will put us on a 4-week cycle of 2,800 bucks. And as you can see, we would still end up having to pay a 15% tax, and then you'll notice that we're over budgeted and out of balance by $1,251. So we need to do something about this, and essentially we've got a few options. We can either somehow try to figure out a way to increase our income, which we can do that here via internet marketing, and this is already sort of in a stable place as far as the interest goes, so we'll talk about these numbers shortly. But what we see here is a lack of balance due to this income number and these bills. So step one could be to adjust your cost of living, and we can start from the top and see what options are available to make this situation work out. So in this situation or this scenario, increasing our income is easier than reducing is harder, excuse me, than reducing our costs. So we're going to try and reduce our costs first and see if we can get into our magic number. So a roommate can bring that down, and we'll just got to eat a little bit less. That'll never go away. Maybe we can drive significantly less and reduce our costs down to a half a tank a week. Maybe that'll help us out. Internet bill with our roommate, we can split that in half. That phone bill's not going to go anywhere. This is already a low maintenance budget for myself, considering I have a truck. This is the actual water bill. This is the actual electricity bill. I believe that we'll end up paying that same amount due to where we live in the city. I actually built a gym in my backyard, so we can drop our Planet Fitness membership. This is a car insurance with for a 30-year-old African American male in the United States. I would say this is about average. Our insurance rates are typically high. I've got a set of twin boys, so I've got a very small term life insurance policy for those kids. This is the renter's insurance for our place. This is my health insurance. This is my kids' Christmas and other holidays. This is our summer vacation. This is my spending allowance. We can reduce that, and we'll eliminate subscriptions and focus on our work instead. So you'll notice that we're still $381 over. Now I've got here, let me label this. We'll call it student debt loans. And we'll call this taxes and miscellaneous debt. So we've got about 100 grand in debt, which is common for a couple degrees in a two-family household. So in my case, though, I supported an entire family on my student loans to get me through college. So that explains why my student loans are excessive. Fortunately, I've got great rates on all of my debt, so we're not going to really stress over the debt. So now my kids are happy. My student loans, we're going to maintain $100 there, and we're going to reduce my contribution to my other debts to, tell you what, we'll do 1,000 towards the student loans every year and 1,000 towards our debt every year. We'll do the same thing towards our savings and the same thing towards our emergencies. And now you see that after we have made some adjustments to our chart, we're still $300 over budget. So the next thing we do is we have to, unfortunately, if this is how it works, we have to start removing some of our quality of life benefits, or we can continue to restructure our bills to accommodate for our gap, our $301 gap. So the way we're going to start here is we're going to call our insurance company and see if we can't get our insurance company to drop, a little bit. We'll call our other insurance company and we'll try to get them. We'll find another more of a cut rate insurance plan, and both of these is what you're going to end up with. But hey, coverage is better than no coverage, and we're down $60. So we're doing good there. Let's go ahead and do that for even numbers. My kids don't have the luxury of having a fancy life, so we're going to reduce that. And we're going to keep our emergency funded at $1,000 a year, along with our retirement fund at $1,000 a year. I also noticed that the investing pool is significant to the tune of $320 a week. I think we were aiming for something more like $160 and perfect. Now we have a balanced budget, 100%, based on the average income of a single person, which is roughly $700. Now this $700, you're going to pay 15% in taxes. Let's shift over here actually. You're going to pay 15% in taxes, and your retirement, you're saving just north of 5%. Your bills are in a healthy range, 17.5. You're eating almost 11% of your income. You have 6.43% in insurance coverage, which we always want to aim for 5 points, but when we're trying to balance our budget at this income level, it can be a bit of a challenge. So it looks like we're overinsured, but we're actually underinsured, and our income is low, all things considered, for a balanced lifestyle. Your mortgage is actually phenomenal. The average mortgage is about 33% of the worker's income. So the fact that we're able to keep our rent at 16% is phenomenal. If you have children, you have to support your children, and this is a healthy support for all things considered. If there was a actual child support fee, you'll probably be looking at something more like 20% here. But after taxes on 23.8, the fact that she's getting 2 makes sense, and I still take care of my children even after paying child support. So we're addressing our debt very lightly. Almost 6%. It is unaddressed, but that usually covers your interest alone. So we really want to beef this up to a 10% number if we can. But as it stands, we are addressing our debt, we are revolving our debt, and we are in a stable place. So if we're barely keeping up with the interest, that's not great for now. But what we hope is to take this number, or this data, or rather this 160 here, and start generating additional cash flow on top of a 9-to-5 job. Because our objective is to slowly but surely buy our time back, and this is how we do that. This is how we do that, and this is how we do that. And we're going to go over all 3 of those in just a second. So what happens is, now that we have a balanced budget, every time you get a check, which if you're making $2,800, your check pre-taxes every bi-weekly is probably going to look like $1,400. So if you were to get $1,400, 2.86% of that is going to go to your fund budget, and that's going to be split up between $10 towards your kids' education, and $20 towards your kids' holiday, and $20 towards your family vacation, or family holidays and family vacations. Same thing with your debt. $80 is going to go towards that, to be split up with every check. So if you get a check for $15, then that $15 should be broken up like this. If you get a check for undo that. If you get a check for $15,000, nothing changes. We still divvy up our money accordingly into these separate accounts. And now we're ahead of the curve in a few of our bills, and we like that. We don't want to spend our $15,000 and then be back to a point where we have to manage our bills. We want to have money saved in emergencies. We want to have money in our retirement. We want to have money to play with and invest in, and we need to have these all delegated on a percentage basis. So it looks like, for example, this company, or my company, is spending 5.71% of my income to grow my business. Okay, now this, we hope will raise this number. This retirement, our savings and retirement here, is a phenomenal thing. Often companies have a match of 3%. So if you're saving the maximum amount that you're supposed to save, your company will match you up to that amount. So I reflect that here, and more often than not, this will reflect your income so that it is matched. And if you were to simply leave your income in a 401k like most people would, and you work for 40 years like the average consumer does, then you're looking at a total, in this situation, you're contributing to your 401k, and 5% over 40 years at retirement, you've got about $250,000. Now what you see here in this expense section is an expense chart minus some of your finances, like your mortgage. You probably won't need that. Your children will be grown, so you probably won't need that. You may still end up having all of your same bills and your groceries. All of your insurances will be the same. But this is actually not included in your cost of living, and you don't need to address your debt, because your debt will be paid. And then if you're retired, then there's really no need to save for retiring. I would really just kind of kick my money into an emergency savings as it comes in off the interest of this number. So what we have here in this case, while we still lack a little bit of balance, is because if we wanted to maintain this lifestyle when we retire, our expenses are going to be $12,600, but unfortunately our annuity payout, if we want to keep our legacy or our total savings, our $250,000 here, if we want to keep that, then we can only spend the percentage that is guaranteed off of that annuity, which is just under $11,000, and our bills are $12,500. So you're actually short on your retirement. But that's not the end of the world, because we can be aggressive and try to get a 6th point, at which point we were able to surpass, and we had to get a little bit more aggressive in our investment strategy. Now that is a safe 401k that's building a portfolio or nest egg for you, whereas over here we're starting what I call quality of life automated businesses designed to increase your cash flow, but you're going to have to do a little bit of spending. And that's what this number is here. It's a very small budget, but it gives me $160 a month to advertise, pay for subscriptions that I need, etc. And now we have a job, we have interest growing on our money, and we have the potential for multiple revenue streams. The average millionaire has 6 revenue streams. So if you can fill this up with costs to grow additional revenue streams, you're in good shape. So that 6% allowed for us to kind of get our annuity over our expenses. And if a person was to maintain this quality of life, they are balanced and can retire in 40 years if they so choose. Now the beauty of this chart is to show people the fluctuation of people's income. It allows you to assess your goals, and we're going to do that for you for my personal self. It allows you to play with this chart and assess your goals and really give yourself a thorough picture of how you want to move forward, what it's going to cost, and what it's going to take to produce it. So I'll give you an example. I would like to retire with an annuity of $1 million a year, and I would like to be able to do as I please with that $1 million, and then the following year my $20 million would produce another $1 million for me. So in order for me to produce that, I would need $20 million saved up, and I would need an annual return of 5%, at which point I can get $1 million. Now if I can get a 5% annuity and spend 4% of that, then that means that I can grow my $20 million by another $200,000 every year and still have $800,000 to play with. So I want to try to reflect that in my earnings. I'm going to manage my own portfolio. You'll notice here this line is a company match. In my case, I don't work for a company any longer, so we're gonna eliminate the company match so that it reflects only what I save and only what I can produce for myself in interest. Unfortunately for me, I'm pretty sound as an investor. I've been spending my entire life working on these things, and I don't think that it's impossible for me to get a 20% return on my money. On the other hand, I also don't believe that I'll ever work for 40 more years. My objective is to be retired by 40. I'm currently 32. If I can, my sons will be 18 at 40, and I believe that I may stick around and work until they graduate from college. If they go for the traditional 4 years, then I'll be 44. So we're going to go ahead and call it 13 years. That'll put me at 45 years old. And if we were to maintain our budget here, you'll see that my annuity payout, or what I'm allowed to spend rather, is only $2,500 a year, and then my expenses are not covered. So I can now take my retirement savings or line item and say, what happens if I put $200 here? Now I'm making $153,000 after 13 years. What happens if I put $2,000 a month here? Now I'm at 1.5. What happens if I put $5,000 here? Now I'm at 3.8. what happens if I put $20,000 here? And this is assuming that I put in $20,000 per month in retirement savings. I still am only at $15,000 because I only compound for 13 years. Let me show you what that looks like over 40 years at 20%. This is $2.2 billion. If you were to make 20% on $20,000 a month, or contribute and put in $260,000 a year into your retirement, at 20% for 40 years, you're looking at $2.2 billion. Okay? Now, the reason why I did that is because this got to a point where most people don't have $20,000 a month to stick into their portfolio. So what's going to have to happen is we're going to get to a more reasonable number that's appropriate. Most people can probably afford something like $100, maybe $200 a week. Let's see what $200 a week produces us with a 20% return over 40 years. Again, I don't really want to work that long, so we're looking at $600,000 if I can get 20% growth year over year. But I want to show you one other thing. What if I can get 100% growth year over year? Well, now I make $170 million in 13 years. So what happens if I can get 50% growth year over year? I'm at $6 million. And if I can get 80%, still kind of high, 0.70%. Looks like we're getting right where we want to be. 65, 0.66, and 0.67 should do it. So, in order for me to accomplish what I'd like to accomplish, I would need to generate an annual return on my savings of 67%. Unfortunately, I know a lot about money. I know that I can get close to my businesses here, and I probably won't be able to generate that money from this retirement line item. But if we can increase our cash flow here, we can funnel this way better. We can get some savings and investments as this cash comes in. I like REITs, that stands for Real Estate Investment Trusts. I like to buy and flip property directly. I like to rental properties. I personally want to start a food truck. I recommend everyone create an online marketplace. All of these things are opportunity that will fund this retirement fund, but it'll come from here. And as this cash flow increases, we'll fund this even more, and once we hit our 20 million, theoretically we can retire. Now I am very, very happy with this data and chart and information. Unfortunately, I can't produce $800 every month to put into my savings, but I can remain balanced and start with 10% of that. Yeah, we can start with 10% of that and slowly but surely grow. And you can see even now, if I maintain a 67% interest rate year over year, I'll still hit 2 million, which is phenomenal because my expenses are only $12,600 in this scenario. My retirement annuity is now a very healthy annuity with $2 million. So I don't want people to think that you need $20 million to live a good life. This is a very, very balanced, stable lifestyle that you can truly, truly enjoy yourself. 13 years to rack up that kind of money is a bit of a stretch, but only you know yourself, and that's what this is really about. It's about helping you have a chart that allows you to create a plan for yourself. I'm very proud of this document. I spent years working on it. It's very simple. I wouldn't say that it's the most sophisticated thing in the world because your business execs and giant corporate America, they've got massive documents, but I think those documents are overwhelming. And again, we're really looking for simplicity for the average user. We need to stabilize the people in our economy so that we can feel safe investing and moving forward as we put up a front against some of the other countries in their objective to grow and take over America or to outpace America in growth. So if we can stabilize our actual people, now we have a solid foundation to build on top of, and people can feel confident in moving forward. So that's why this chart is so important to me. I don't think I left anything out. We got our debt down here so you can get a good thorough idea of what your debt looks like. The debt, your interest rates are not calculated into this, and this does not reflect in your payments, but that is something that we can definitely do via the Sense app in an automated process to make this document and chart easier for you than ever before. And guys, that's really it. That's how this works. This is a very, very simple process. Again, all you do is come in, plug in your income, you plug in your bills. If you're out of balance here in this extra column, then you can either get a second job, try to figure out ways to make more money, or you can figure out a way to reduce your cost. A lot of times finding a roommate is an option. Moving back in with your parents is an option. You can also make sacrifices on here, but I do not recommend you completely delete anything out of your budget. For example, if you have to eat a little bit less, eat a little bit less before you completely get rid of your health insurance. Now, if you have to take your health insurance down to $50 because you just can't afford to live, you can't thrive and feel healthy on $50 a week, then you can start dwindling your the quality of life, which means that your kids' vacation can shrink a little more. Maybe we can look into some other health insurance plans. Maybe we can cut our life insurance policy in half. Maybe we can pull a little bit of our savings so that instead of saving $1,000, maybe we're saving $800 a year. Whatever it takes, we should try our hardest to keep all line items addressed. And I'll say this before I check out. Everything that's not under this cost of business chart is a mandatory stabilization line item that belongs on your budget to keep you progressive and moving forward in the life that you're in. If you want a better life for yourself, you got to do something else. It doesn't mean throw away your budget and start neglecting your responsibilities. It means to incorporate something additional into your life that's going to allow you to generate and drum up extra income. That budget is going to determine how fast your income grows. So it's a good idea that as you get raises, instead of putting them into your bills and having them eat up your check, run them into your business and grow your business faster so that we can increase your income. And if we can get every person in the United States to an average income of $1,000 per week, we've got a truly stable, happy, progressive nation. And I also would like, as a country, to slowly but surely reduce the cost of living sector in every way. And if that means that we need more productive people on the front end, then we should take that reduction in cost and shift it over into the quality of life sector. So, for example, the Disney World vacation might go up a little bit in price, but everybody has a home and nobody's hungry, and now we have an entire productive society. So all the people that are supplying these options and resources should see the increase in their income, so much so that they won't feel the increase in cost in the quality of life sector. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this presentation. I hope that you found a lot of value in this chart. I think that this can really help everybody in the economy. How Sense automates this is it takes this income, your earned income check, and then it automatically breaks it up based on these charts. All you would have to do is submit the check into a business account, at which point all of your bills will be dispersed into the accounts that they belong. And now you know how much money you have to spend for your business. You know how much money you have to spend in your personal spending accounts, and the rest of your accounts will remain untouched as they are for bills, retirement, emergency, and taxes. Thanks again, guys. This is it's truly an honor to be able to put this thing together and push this project. I hope that you guys will support me any way you can. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And Thank you.